It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good.
Good one.
I love you guys.
Welcome to the Rob Schneider Comedy Hour. Opening act, JD Vance. I'm old enough to remember when this Breitbart stooge, I don't even know what happened to him. I think he disappeared because of hot takes like this 15 years ago. The right is starting to get better at comedy, and it's making the lefties nervous. Diet Mountain Dew. Do you get it? I don't even know what the punchline is. Do you get it? I'm from a small hick town, just like JD Vance. And I'll tell you what, if you were drinking a Diet Mountain Dew, the chuds in these towns would not call you a racist. They would call you a word that starts with an F. For, you could ask Peter Thiel about it.
Trump is the new Adolf.
Welcome to the Chud Report. I'm your host, MJ. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Well, maybe don't do it yet. The video might suck. But if you do like the video, make sure you hit that like button to keep us in this good algorithm. Now let's get into it. JD Vance. The J stands for James, and the D stands for dicking down couches. Did JD Vance put 2 latex gloves in a couch and vigorously make sweet love to it? I don't know. That's not what this episode's about. Probably would have made a better joke, a better story than whatever that Mountain Dew bullshit was, but I don't know. JD Vance's idea, safe sex, this is what it looks like. But that's not what this episode's about. Did JD Vance misunderstand the meaning of this meme? That's not what this episode's about.
When I see her give a speech, and she talks about the history of this country, not with appreciation, but with condemnation. But if you want to lead this country, you should feel grateful for it. You should feel a sense of gratitude. And I never hear that gratitude come through when I listen to Kamala Harris. I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?
Whoa! Collect a government check for the past 20 years. I don't think it's the Diet Mountain Dew. I don't think that's the reason people are calling you racist, buddy. First off, admittedly, Kamala Harris did get a small loan of $500 million from her dad to start a company. So I can see why JD's lost out here. And the irony is, if she wasn't a black woman, JD, I'm talking about the author JD, not into the JD Peter Thiel created, which we're going to get into in this episode. But if the author who wrote Hillbilly Eulogy, that JD Vance, has a much similar story to Kamala Harris than he's letting on here. Kamala is the daughter of 2 immigrants. And believe it or not, like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, I don't know how long ago, but that used to be the story of America. Immigrants come here. This is the promise. And then their kids live the American dream. And that's Kamala. She put herself through law school and became the first black American and also the first woman and also the first Asian American ever elected to be Attorney General of California. A humble background, humble upbringings. Kind of like JD's story. Granted, with a lot less trailer park meth explosions, but you get the point. But the real difficulty of this episode, the real difficulty JD Vance is having here, the real difficulty in the Republican Party is deciding who they hate more. Do they hate minorities more or do they hate powerful women more?
What he's saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made.
Dana White, UFC big shot. Trump's best friend. He was chosen to be the co-main event speaker at the RNC. And this is Dana White beating his wife. Now you tell me something. If a party was concerned about the advancement of women in any respect, would they have this guy as the co-main event speaker on closing night? So their message is clear. And all JD's doing here is trying to evoke that old Reagan trope of, the welfare queen. He even squeezed, I'm a Marine in there. I'm a Marine. I'll put my life on the line. Did you? JD ran PR for the Marines, that dangerous job of public relations, where one wrong move won't get you clicks on the internet. And do you know where he did it from? The heart of Afghanistan, the deepest parts of Baghdad. Of course not. He did it from North Carolina. You think this Twinkie wearing mascara was over there putting his life on the line? Of course not. JD Vance's job was to convince your kids, maybe you, to go over and fight this war. Fight two wars that George W. Bush started. And apparently he was doing it with an AK-47, which every Marine knows is the issued weapon of the United States government, and definitely not the weapon most tightly associated with terrorism and Russia. It's a cool pick though, bro. It is. And that's the service he's talking about. Not fighting himself, but delivering bodies. And he wants to attack Kamala for sitting around and collecting a government check. I mean, that's rich. That's rich. The people that call themselves the party of law and order. We're the party of law and order. You gotta have law, you gotta have order. Attacking a DA. And you know why they think it works? Because she looks like this. JD Vance didn't start a company. JD Vance didn't even help the people he exploited to write his book. This right here is the perfect description of JD Vance. I don't know if the author of this tweet meant it this way, but this is how I read it. JD Vance is the Cybertruck of running mates. 100%. He was created by oligarchs for morons to buy. In 2016, Peter Thiel saw the potential of a guy who coined himself as a hillbilly, but went to school at Yale and became a famous author. Peter Thiel swooped Vance up and forced him into Mithril Capital. And that's some Lord of the Rings thing. Admittedly, I couldn't make it through one Lord of the Rings movie. I'm sorry to anybody out there who likes Lord of the Rings, but Peter Thiel names all his companies after them. A Yale lawyer turned author from the hills who didn't know anything about investing. And the people that worked there at the time will attest as much. Peter Thiel was grooming JD Vance. And I'm not talking grooming in that way, right? Because after all, Peter Thiel loves power more than he loves being gay. The thing you have to know about Peter Thiel is he's smart. He's not like Elon here, right? He didn't buy Twitter to echo every stupid thought that comes out of his head and tank his companies. Peter Thiel operates from the shadows. If you remember when Hulk Hogan was suing Gawker, Peter Thiel was behind the scenes providing all the money to take them out of business. That's how he does it. And he was creating something very specific with Vance. So, I mean, Vance was an atheist, but that was not going to work for this plan. So he converted in 2019 to Catholicism. And in 2020, Vance wrote that Thiel was the original inspiration for his path to Christianity. Yeah, no shit. And by original inspiration, he means Peter Thiel came up to him and said, hey, you're going to be Catholic now. He said, okay. And that was the original inspiration. This way, Vance could be aligned with the young religious crowd of the new right. Talk about trad wives, the no-fault divorce, put women in jail, put doctors in jail who give abortions. That new right.
I don't know, Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps and I built a business. What the hell have you done?
What the hell have you done? What the hell have you done? I don't know, Kamala. Maybe because I was in the Senate for literally 2 years. I built a business. Did you, though? Vance returned to Ohio to start his own venture firm, Narya Capital. Now, see, I don't get this because I don't know Lord of the Rings. But I'll give you 69 guesses who actually set up this business, who put up all the money to start it. Narya Capital. It's a Lord of the Rings reference. Any takers out there? Anybody want to guess? Take a rando guess. Peter Thiel gave him all the money to start this company. I started my own business. Are you starting to see what's happening here? The oligarchs were building a puppet.
No puppet. No puppet.
In 2016, when Vance was still just the author, he wasn't the successful businessman, the devout Catholic, that were all totally his choices. He called Trump America's Hitler. He said he couldn't stomach Trump. He called him a moral disaster. And in a show, a turn of phrase to show just how good of an author he is, because he is a good author, he called Trump cultural heroin, a term I'm stealing, because I guarantee 100% he's not allowed to put those two words together anymore. I'm from a small coal mining town that has been ravished by meth, Oxycontin, heroin, you name it. And what they're on right now, in addition to the other drugs still, is they're on MAGA. For someone like Vance to be from a place like that, a place like me, to call Trump something relatable to the opioid epidemic, the drug epidemic, that packs a punch harder than, Dana White throws at his wife. Cultural heroin. But then Diet Mountain Dew here in 2022, a month before his primary, was marched into Trump's office, forced to take a knee and beg for an endorsement. And you know who set up the meeting? You know who was in the meeting with them? Lord of the Rings himself, Peter Thiel. And as an aside note, you can see why billionaires and democracy aren't compatible. For one person to be able to swing like that. I mean, Elon's already backing out of his 45 million, but this is why they don't work together. A self-made man, a Marine, a devout Catholic, who just had to take $15 million from his boss and beg for America's Hitler's endorsement. What changed my mind about Donald Trump more than anything is that I saw the corruption in our institutions. Now you're going to start realizing what Peter Thiel was building here. Vance said at a campaign speech in Ohio in 2022, a lot of what this campaign is about and a lot of my own thinking about politics is about, sure bud, and is that our institutions are corrupt. We have to replace the people who run them. Some of those institutions we have to destroy. This rhetoric is part of what led to Vance being dubbed the face of the new right, a movement that emphasizes the importance of nationalism, white nationalism, as opposed to international cooperation, pairing opposition to abortion and immigration with skepticism of democratic institutions. Are you starting to understand why the oligarchs would utilize this? Though the new right lacks a clear leader, the movement's ideology has been partly influenced by Patrick Deneen, the author of Why Liberalism Failed, and right-wing blogger Curtis Yarvin, who has argued that the current system of government should be replaced by one leader who could seize absolute power and dismantle the whole regime. You see what they're proposing here? Authoritarianism. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, the Koch's Heritage Foundation, the Federal Society. The deep state who built JD Vance. I'm willing to bet they don't care about any of these issues. Maybe some of them do, but overall, they don't care about abortion. Peter Thiel, a gay man, he doesn't care about gay marriage. He's a billionaire. He can do what he wants. He doesn't care. They don't care about guns, and they're probably not even racist or misogynistic. But what they do care about are these institutions that the new right is being utilized to motivate and mobilize the morons in this country with. They care about destroying these institutions that can put checks on them, right? That can put restrictions on their power. They know that these MAGA chuds are the lowest forms in this country, the lowest forms of life we have. You know what I mean? And they said as much by just writing down all their plans, nearly 1,000 pages in Project 2025. Because at this point, it doesn't matter. Undereducated, angry, hopped up on Christo-fascism. People from JD Vance's hometown. People from my hometown. People we know well. Vance was groomed as a Trojan horse or some, Lord of the Rings thing. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, but there has to be some kind of sword they forged to beat some kind of dragon, or maybe a penis inside a couch, if that's a more apt metaphor. Vance is the penis inside the couch of MAGA. And his one job is to harness the power of MAGA and direct all that anger inward for these people against themselves, against their communities, against the institutions of the United States government. And fortuitously, I mean, the biggest threat to the lawlessness of this radical extreme right party is indeed a lifetime prosecutor. When this self-made, successful businessman, this Catholic, this Marine here, when he tells you that Trump is America's Hitler, and then you see him do this?
Mr. President, I will never take for granted the trust you have put in me. And what an honor it is to help achieve the extraordinary vision that you have for this country.
What an honor
it is
to help you achieve America's next Hitler. America's Hitler, that's what he called him. What an honor it is to help you achieve your vision. At this point, I wish this episode was about a chud screwing a couch. But it's a little more important than that. The Chud Report. Thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your support to the members of this channel. There's a t-shirt I'm going to put down there. If you like this t-shirt, it's okay. It's okay. If you did watch it and you do like this episode, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And yeah, that's all I got. The Chud Report.
I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?